It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome aboard. Question for you. Did you used to dream about, your dream job? If you're like me, you still haven't grown up and you still have dreams about what may become. So it's not just for kids, it's for all of us. And one thing I've always wanted to do was to become a professional tournament angler. In particular, a bass pro. Heck, when I was 13, I had a big BASS sticker on my green Plano tackle box. And even though I never caught a bass bigger than 3 pounds out of my home lake a few miles from Seattle, I was certain I'd be competing at some level in the future. Fast forward a few dozen years, and I'll tell you exactly what level I compete in. It's called the Old Farts Tournament. It takes place in eastern Washington at Potholes Reservoir every September, and it's put on by my good friends who run Mardon Resort there. There's never been more than 20 teams, 20 boats participating, 2 anglers per boat, and at least one of the participants on that boat has to be over 40. For our boat, that's no problem. We're both well north of there. And I'd like to tell you that we've done great fishing the Old Farts Tournament, but the fact of the matter is, when we end up in the middle of the pack, we tend to think that we've done pretty good. We're talking about a one-day tournament here where you bring in your 5 biggest bass between the 2 of you, and the best we've done is about 14.5 pounds. Not a bad day of fishing, but not exactly a money-making proposition either. Oh, and in case you're wondering what a winning 5-fish bag looks like, it's not 14 pounds, it's usually around 25 pounds. Do the math, and you'll realize there's some pretty nice largemouth and smallmouth bass in that lake, and some pretty good anglers competing, even in our small field of Old Farts. Oh well, there's always the Old Farts Tournament this year, and who knows, maybe I'll spread my wings and me and my fishing buddy Rusty might compete in a few more tournaments in the years to come. This week on the show, we've got guests who are going to talk fishing, hunting, and trucks. One of those guests is Colin Kearns. He's the editor-in-chief of Field & Stream magazine, and sticking with this whole Bass Pro theme, he's going to break down just how much money it takes to be a big league Bass Pro and some of the surprising costs associated with their not-so-glamorous lifestyle. We're going to have another conversation with Colin as well, and this one is based on an article that's in this month's edition of Field & Stream. It's all about the go-to lures for 8 of the top bass pros out there. The lures they choose when the going gets tough and it's time to produce. I think you're going to find some of the choices pretty interesting. On the hunting side of the program, we'll get a chance to talk to Aaron Davidson. He is the CEO of Gunwerks, a company located in Cody, Wyoming, that specializes in long-range shooting rifles and in training shooters to become proficient in making shots at crazy long distances. One firearm you would not expect to see from this sort of company would be a muzzleloader. But guess what? Gunwerks has rolled out a 50 caliber muzzleloading rifle that will take down an animal at 500 yards. Yes, you heard that right. A muzzleloader with an effective range of 500 yards. And Aaron will tell you how they built this rifle to accomplish this incredible feat. On top of that, we've got outdoors news for you, most of it fishing related, that takes us from the Midwest to the Southeast. And finally, whether you are a hunter or an angler, you probably own a truck or want to own one. That's why we'll be chatting with Scott Brown today. He's the West Coast Media Relations Manager for Ram Trucks, and they have got a whole lot of new features available in their new heavy-duty trucks that you are going to love, whether you are pulling a boat or a trailer behind your rig. I'm not going to give up all of these features right now, but I will tell you about one, a backup camera that you can actually put on the back of your trailer. Now that's impressive, and that's just one of the many innovative new things you'll find on the 2019 and 2020 Ram heavy-duty trucks. Before we talk trucks and shooting, though, let's introduce you to our first guest and talk fishing. We're starting off the show today with a great guest. His name, Colin Kearns. He is the editor-in-chief of Field and Stream magazine, and we're going to talk about the lures that the best of the best, those bass pros who make $1 million plus a year, use when the going gets tough. Colin, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
This was a really interesting article to me, $1 Million Lures. You break down some very well-known, plus some up-and-comer bass pros, and I was really surprised to see the go-to lures for some of these anglers. How many anglers in all do you cover there?
We've got 8 anglers in this package, and as you said, there's a great mix of guys, kind of classic guys like Skeet Reese and Kevin Van Dam, and some new guys like Keith Combs and John Cruz. So it's a good mix of anglers in this one.
We'll start off with Keith Combs. He's just at that $1 million mark, and he's been using something that I've been using as of late, the last couple of years, and have really had good success with. He likes to use a deep diving crankbait. That's his go-to lure. What lure in particular does he use, and how does he use it to catch so many fish?
Well, he likes this lure specifically because it gets down really deep, and it's got a tight wobble that he says is not super aggressive, and it mimics a lot of the primary forage that he's fishing in deeper waters. And with this lure specifically, he really emphasizes pairing it with the right tackle. And for him, that means a really high-quality fluorocarbon line and then a rod that has both a good bend and strong backbone for this is essential for him.
He is not the only $1 million bass pro that is using a crankbait. Kevin Van Dam has got his very own crankbait. He's won $6.4 million, and he's got some really good advice about fishing a square bill crankbait that I think a lot of bass anglers don't follow.
Yeah, I mean, he says to throw right into the cover, whether that's treetops or laydowns or grinding it across rocks and ripraps. For him, that's where the bass are. And, for a crankbait, it kind of seems like a surprising advice. But, when you've won almost $6.5 million on the Pro Tour, you probably shouldn't argue with him.
I agree. And another one I'm not going to argue with, but I was very surprised by the choice of lure, is Skeet Reese. He's made $3.3 million in winnings. He hails from California, and you think California bass angler, you immediately think swim bait, but that's not his go-to.
Yeah, you're right. You kind of think those rainbow trout swim baits that were made famous out here. But for Skeet, he gave us a large profile jig, and specifically for him, he likes the Berkeley Crazy Legs Chigger Crawl trailer. And, he says the key to his success is just slowing down your presentation. And that was actually a theme throughout this story overall between the 8 pros. A lot of them kept emphasizing, fish these things slower than you might think, because, these fish, these bigger bass, are more aware of bait that's moving kind of unnaturally, which is how, he says, how a jig often looks when you're moving it too quickly. So he says to really slow down your presentation, and that's how you'll get some of those bigger bass to strike.
One more angler we got to touch on. That old school veteran, Larry Nixon. I think he's been fishing on the circuit, about 40 years now? And he just loves
something like, yeah.
Yeah, 6-inch curly tail worm. I mean, that's about as old school as you get, isn't it?
Yeah, I loved that was the lure that he picked, because it's just a perfect match for him. And, he just likes a worm that has he refers to it like no inherent noise-making ability. He likes, bulky models with tails that flutter or wiggle and do a better job of attracting fish in dirty water. So those kind of curly tail worms are the ones that he wants to fish.
Well, we're going to have to leave it at that for now. But, folks, if you want to find out more about the lures that the pros use when it really counts and what's making them their millions, check out the latest edition of Field and Stream magazine. Look for the $1 Million Lures article. And, Colin, if you don't mind sticking around, I'd love to visit some more about how much it costs to be $1 Million Bass Pro winner.
You got it.
We We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about on this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing through education and work on behalf of wild public lands and waters. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting www.backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access. You can also demonstrate your support by signing up for the 2019 North American Rendezvous in Boise, Idaho, May 1st to the 5th.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
More habitat equals more wildlife. Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. Join the habitat leader and help create wildlife habitat in your community. To join us, go to pheasantsforever.org.
As promised, Colin Kearns, the editor-in-chief of Field and Stream magazine, is back with us on America Outdoors Radio. Colin, thanks for sticking around.
My pleasure.
So there was a really interesting sidebar that was part of this $1 Million Lures article, and I think we've all heard the old saw. You have to spend money to make money, and this sidebar really shows that the cost of becoming a $1 Million Bass Pro. You actually break down the average cost per year for these Bass Pros, and it's almost $68,000 a year they're spending to basically fish 8 tournaments in 60 days, isn't it?
Yeah, the life of a Bass Pro, I think to a lot of us, it sounds like a dream job. Like, you get paid money to catch fish that, what could be better? But as this sidebar kind of breaks down, to be as good as these guys, to make as much money as these guys, this job is a total grind, and you are on the road nonstop. It's not glamorous. You're spending a ton of money, and it really kind of makes you appreciate just how good these guys are, because it's really the guys who are willing to put in all the time and hours on the road and on the water, as well as dip into their own pocket to cover tournament fees and all the other stuff to reach that $1 million level.
Well, you make some assumptions when you put this together, and that is that this is an 8-event tour, that the entry fees are around $5,000 a piece, that the pros using a boat that's already paid for, or at least being loaned to them as a demo, and they're putting 25,000 miles on their truck and spending 60 days on the road. The biggest fee, far and away, $40,000 for entry fees. Man, oh man, it is not cheap to be a Bass Pro, is it?
No, not at all. Just imagine that, paying $5,000 just to cast. It's far from a sure thing that you're going to, win the event, much less place to cover your tournament fees. So, these guys really do put it all out there, and it's a gamble every single tournament to invest that kind of money, hoping that, you'll not only cover your tournament fee, but also, bring something extra home. It's a lot of money.
A lot of money and a lot of pressure. And this really illustrates the sidebar that you have here, why so many people, jump into this and then jump right back out, because they're pretty much broke after a year or two. I get it now that I see it. Truck payments, truck fuel, truck insurance, that's another big chunk of change. It's about $12,000, $13,000 a year right there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, what's not on this list is kind of the physical toll and, the emotional toll. I mean, you're talking as soon as you finish one tournament, you're trailing your boat and you're trucking, thousands of miles to the next tournament. If you're lucky, maybe you can catch your wife or girlfriend on the phone before you want to crash for the night, and you got to do it all over again. You really got to hand it to these guys who make this work and make it a living, and who have made as much money as these 8 anglers in this story have, because it's a tough grind, and I do not envy them.
One thing that jumped out at me was the fact that 60 days on the road, they're only spending $6,000 for food and lodging. I think a lot of us have this perception that these, top-notch bass pros live a very glamorous life, stay in 5-star hotels, eat out every night, eat steak for dinner. And with that kind of budget, that's anything but true.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would imagine there are many nights when these guys just pull over or at a rest stop and sleep in their truck, or, I don't know about fishing road trips that you've been on, but for me personally, I shudder to think at some of the junk food I've eaten on those trips. It's, whatever sandwich you can find at a gas station, the most caffeinated soda and bags of chips. It's not a healthy lifestyle by any means.
No, it's certainly not. But it really does go to show, again, that you got to spend some real money to have a chance to make some real money. And this is some serious business, folks. This is some serious cost and some serious work that these anglers, even the top ones, are putting in to be part of the tournament trail. If you want to find out more about $1 Million Lures and the cost of being a bass pro, check out the current edition of Field and Stream magazine. It's just one of the great articles you're going to find in there, and it's on a newsstand near you. You can also subscribe. Just go to fieldandstream.com and start your subscription. Colin, always great to have you on the show.
Thanks very much. I enjoyed it.
Turning from bass pros to bass tournament news, Wisconsin angler Caleb Cuphall was nowhere to be found on the list of pre-tournament favorites at the Bass Pro Bassmaster Central Open on Lewis Smith Lake in central Alabama last weekend. That changed, though, when he won the event with a 3-day total weight of 43 pounds, 2 ounces. Cuphall's nearest challenger was John Cox of DeBary, Florida, who took second with 42 pounds and 1 ounce of bass. Cuphall's key to success, targeting both largemouth and spotted bass in the lake. Cuphall pitched jigs to the spotted bass in the morning and then flipped jigs for the largemouth in the afternoon. It worked out, and Cuphall won $37,200 and a berth in the 2020 Bassmaster Classic should he fish the remaining 2 Central Opens, and I'm guessing he plans on doing that. Turning from the Bassmaster Series to Fishing League Worldwide, pro Bradford Beavers of Summerville, South Carolina, caught a 5 bass limit weighing 23 pounds, 7 ounces to win a weather-shortened FLW Series on Santee Cooper Lakes, presented by Power Pole. The tournament was shortened last week from 3 days to 2 after competition was canceled Friday due to high winds. Bradford's 2-day total of 10 bass weighed 54 pounds, 9 ounces, and that was enough to earn him the victory at the Southeastern Division finale and $86,700, which includes a new Ranger bass boat with a 200-horse Evinrude or Mercury outboard. Beaver said, "To win on my home lake is quite an accomplishment." He won the Costa FLW Championship Series on Kentucky Lake in 2017, but had a hard time at the Santee Cooper Lakes in 2014 when he started the final day of fishing in second place, but didn't catch a thing and ended up ninth. This was indeed some sweet redemption. Now, if you're not quite as good of a fishing pro as Bradford Beavers and you still want a bass boat, I do have an option for you, but you've got to be fishing in the state of Nebraska to take advantage of it. You're probably aware of programs designed to get individuals on the water, both young and old, and introduce them to the sport of fishing. The state of Nebraska is doing this as well, and they're making it worth your while to take someone new fishing with the promise of a new bass boat. Here's how it works. Nebraska wants you to introduce or reintroduce a family member or friend to the sport of fishing. Take them out on your next fishing trip in the Cornhusker State. Show them the basics, share your knowledge, and all the reasons you love to fish. It probably helps if you catch some fish, too, for what that's worth. Once you're done doing that, submit a photo of your adventure online. And once you do, you are entered to win some great prizes. Now, the biggest prize is a $12,000 Bass Tracker Classic boat. But there are other great prizes, too, to include a $500 gift card from Shields, a kayak, guided fishing trips, and more. More friends that fish equals more possible fishing trips. And the more folks you introduce to fishing, the more times you can enter the prize giveaway. If you want to find out more and enter for a chance to win, go to outdoornebraska.gov/take'em-fishing. Again, that's outdoornebraska.gov/take'em-fishing. Enter and go fishing in the Cornhusker State. You just might walk away with a brand new bass boat.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medi-Share, and Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medi-Share members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medi-Share. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medi-Share anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE. 855-90-BIBLE.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're going to talk a little bit about muzzle loaders. Now, I bet the first thing that came to mind when I said that was probably a Revolutionary War smoothbore musket. Effective range somewhere between 75 and 100 yards. Fast forward to the muzzle loaders of today, and you've got increased range, but nothing like the new Gunwerks 50 caliber muzzleloader with a loophole Mark V scope. This has got an effective range of 500 yards. With us here to tell us more is Aaron Davidson, the CEO of Gunwerks out of Cody, Wyoming. Aaron, this is one amazing rifle.
Thanks for having me on the show. It is pretty exceptional when you consider the expectation for, muzzleloader performance is, 100 to 200 yards. Being able to successfully place bullets where you intend at 500 plus yards is pretty exciting for a lot of people.
I know we got out, 200 yards by changing that smoothbore musket to a rifled muzzleloader. But how did you manage to build a muzzleloader that shoots all the way out to 500 yards and will knock down animals at that range?
I'm a student of engineering and development in the firearms industry, and a muzzleloader that has the capability to shoot that far is actually not very new. If you go way back into the 1800s and look up Sir Whitworth, and you take a look at the muzzleloader developments that he chased at the time, he was able to shoot, just over a couple minutes of angle at 1,000 yards with some bullet and rifling developments that he created. And we've seen a little bit of that technology kind of integrate itself into muzzleloaders over the years. But when we sat down to design a muzzleloader, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to make a great package that hunters can use in special seasons to enhance their ability to take game with those one-shot kills that we're all looking for. And with a muzzleloader, that's even more important. And so all we did was looked at what's been done in the past and said, how can we adopt this to, modern methodologies, modern equipment, modern technology?
Let's talk about some of that modern technology that you're using. I guess we're going to start with the stock because your stocks are way different than lots of other gun stocks out there.
Gunwerks started with this idea of a complete shooting system, and we've always been a provider of, rifle, scope, ammunition, rangefinder, and even the ballistic calibration and setup of that gun. And so we take full responsibility for that. And the stock is a really, really important part of a complete system. It's the piece of the gun that you interface with. It's what you touch and feel, and when you pull the trigger, it defines what your shooting experience is like. Muzzleloaders shoot heavy bullets, and generally the muzzle brakes are less effective because we have to deal with sabos, and so there's more recoil, and being able to handle and process that recoil is important. When you are shooting a muzzleloader and you're shooting at distance, being able to follow through and see that impact is very important as well. So our stocks are designed with very specific design geometry that controls the recoil, that helps you get back on target faster, that reduces that felt recoil, pulls away from your face, etc. So the stock is very important. And one of the developments that we've made specifically on the muzzleloader side is our stock accepts a two-piece ramrod. And that two-piece ramrod allows us to free-float our barrel completely. So we don't have a ramrod that's hanging from a ramrod holder, from the muzzle, which can cause some point of impact change. And especially when, you need to take a follow-up shot, perhaps requiring you to replace the ramrod in that hanger to get the same barrel harmonics so that you can get the same point of impact. So this two-piece ramrod is built specifically for precision muzzleloader shooter, and our rifle stock has some hardware in place that allows it to retain that two-piece ramrod.
I'm listening to what you're telling me here, and I'm thinking to myself that there's rocket scientists at NASA that could probably learn from you and your staff in terms of the innovations you're coming up with. I'm just absolutely blown away by this. This is just awesome. One other thing I want to talk about, you have both left and right-handed bolt actions, but there's options with these bolt actions. Why don't you briefly tell our listeners about those?
In the past, we have used a 209-style primer breech plug. And we built a specific action that had that primer holder built into the nose of the bolt, had rear lug lock up. And we've done that action for a long time. But 2 years ago, when we started the journey to reinvent this muzzleloader, we said, hey, this is really going to be improved in the options that we can deliver to the customer if we build this on an action that accepts kind of standard cartridges. So essentially, our muzzleloader action is now just a short action standard bolt face, either GLR or GRB series action. And that means you can have it with all the standard action options. You can get right and left-handed. You can get a titanium option on the GLR. So if you're chasing some weight savings, doing one of those high country Colorado type hunts, you can build a really light muzzleloader by, changing barrel contours, fluting, and by using titanium. So those options are pretty handy, and essentially that action is a standard firearms action. One of the negatives there is it is now a requirement to do that firearms transfer, whereas the old muzzleloader style actions didn't require that transfer.
You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're talking to Aaron Davidson, the CEO of Gunwerks. That's WERKS out of Cody, Wyoming. And we're talking about their 50 caliber muzzleloader with an effective range of 500 yards. Yes, you heard that right. Quick question for you, Aaron. You've paired this with a Leupold Mark V scope. Why did you choose this particular brand of scope?
When Leupold introduced their Mark VI product a few years ago, we were pretty excited about the size and shape. Like we're into hunting rifles, so a lot of us hunt either horseback or backpacking, and the smaller, more compact and lighter products have some interest. Guys pay a lot of extra money to make lighter Gunwerks rifles. You can build 4 billion different combinations of our rifles, but the ones that we sell the most of are the ones that have carbon fiber and titanium and other light options. So when you take a look at rifle scopes, if Leupold is able to provide a scope that is a half pound lighter than the competition, then that's a pretty significant advantage, and Leupold does that in the Mark V product. They also have a couple other features that we like. They have a locking turret, so in hunting situations you never have to worry about inadvertent adjustment of that elevation dial.
Right.
We build our muzzleloaders with a very specific bullet powder combination, twisting as fast as we can and still using a sabot because it offers the easiest reloading and most consistent shooting capability. But when you do that, you kind of limit yourself to the effective BC and the velocities that you can push. And so having a scope that has adequate elevation adjustment travel so that we can apply the ballistics of that, heavier, slightly slower bullet, then it allows us to still adjust very precisely for the distance that you want to shoot. So using one of our muzzleloaders, you would range a target, say, 487 yards, and you would dial that elevation turret to that exact distance. The Leupold 3.5 to 18 has a significant amount of elevation travel. So when we're practicing with the muzzleloader, we don't just shoot out to 500 yards. We'll shoot 600, 700, 800 yards plus. And we do very well using that extra adjustment range that the Leupold has.
Well, we are going to have to leave it at that. But, folks, as you just heard, this is a muzzleloader like no other. Again, it's the Gunwerks 50 caliber muzzleloader with a Leupold Mark V scope. Go ahead and check it out at gunwerks.com. That's Gunwerks, work spelled WERKS.com. There's a great YouTube video that's linked with this firearm too. You'll want to check that out as well and make plans to enjoy muzzleloader season and all those great opportunities that go with it outside of the modern firearm season with a weapon that's just as effective as a modern firearm. Aaron, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
You're welcome.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about on this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offers spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh is proud to be celebrating over 40 years of providing you, our valued Shiloh customers, with Shiloh's sincere friendliness, efficient customer service, and clean, comfortable, attractive, non-smoking rooms and suites, all at an affordable price. Shiloh also offers many free amenities like free Wi-Fi and free continental breakfast or hot, full, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns, as well as pools, spas, steam, sauna rooms, exercise fitness facilities, and business centers. And even the kids stay free. And for you dog lovers, Shiloh is very dog friendly. So ask your best friend where he or she wants to stay. Next time you're traveling for business or pleasure, we think you'll get a paws up for Shiloh Inns. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family owned and proud of it.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio, and we've got some outdoors news for you. Last week, we told you about a new state record walleye that was caught in North Dakota. This week, we are sharing news about a new state record bass that was caught in Kentucky. From the Outdoor News Daily, we learned Mark Ward's Good Friday this April was truly a Good Friday. That's the day he took his wife and 9-month-old daughter fishing to a small 6-acre pond called High Splint Lake. Ward saw a nice bass that he figured to be about 4 pounds and pitched a plastic lizard towards it for his first cast of the day. That 4-pounder showed interest, but not as much interest as a much bigger largemouth bass that swam up and took the bait. Ward set the hook and reeled in a 14-pound, 9.5-ounce bass that was nearly 27 inches long. The monster bass beat the old state record set in 1984 by nearly a pound. Think about it. Fishing on Good Friday in a little teeny lake, and on your first cast you catch a new state record bass? I'll tell you what, it's hard to believe that some of you out there don't believe in miracles. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we get to catch up with Scott Brown. He's a media relations manager for the West Coast for Fiat Chrysler. They're the folks that make those Ram trucks that so many of you like to recreate outdoors in. And it being a new model year, they've got some new stuff for 2019 and 2020. Scott, great to have you back on the show.
John, good to see you.
Last year around this time, we talked about the new Ram 1500 light-duty truck, but now we're going a little bit heavier this year, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Ram 1500s were all new last year. We're at that point where we've been in production about a year, and we're seeing kind of the fruits of our labors. On an engineering side, a company spends 3 or 4 years developing a truck, and then we launch it, and we wait for bated breath to see how it's going to be received. Well, the Ram 1500 has collected a lot of awards through 18, and that's nice to see because that shows us that the work that we did, the development work that we did, talking to consumers and implementing those things has been well received. So we're really pleased with the 1500, all of the things that we did with that, and now we're launching the new heavy duty. So 2500, 3/4 tons, and then the 1 tons, the 3500s. And so we launched those earlier this year. They're arriving in markets in the last couple of months, and it's full on there now with our heavy duties.
When it comes to Ram, I mean, you look at it from the awards point of view. I look at it from what I see out on the road when I'm out fishing, hunting, or just going from point A to point B on the highway. And in the western U.S., I mean, Ram has clearly established not just a foothold. They are a major player in the truck market now. I'm seeing more Ram trucks than ever these days. I'm guessing this growth is growing nationwide, not just out in the western U.S.?
Yeah, absolutely. Ram became a standalone brand in 2009, broke Dodge and Ram apart. Dodge focuses on cars, and we did this so we could focus on our consumers, right? We have a team that specifically talks to truck owners and how they use their trucks. We've doubled our market share since 2009. So in the last 10 years, our market share has doubled. And that's because we're here. I'm here at this conference talking to people that use their trucks as a tool, right? It's more than just recreation. You guys, you have guides, you're journalists. The truck is a tool. We'll talk to you guys. You give us feedback, and we go back and we engineer our trucks to fit the needs that you guys have. And we'd like to feel that our capturing market share is because our consumers have educated us on what they need and what they want. The new heavy duties, all of the things that we've incorporated into the heavy duties, whether it's safety, whether it's powertrains, whether it's infotainment, it's because the consumers are demanding this stuff.
Well, let's get into some of the details about what the consumers have asked for and what you're delivering with the new heavy-duty Ram trucks, 3/4 tons and 1 tons.
With a truck, first and foremost, it's got to be capability and performance. And so we'll start with a frame, the high-strength steel. The new frame on the heavy duties is 98.5% high-strength steel. That enables us actually to lighten the weight of the truck. And when you lighten the weight, that enables you to do other things, better fuel efficiencies, things like that. The engine, Cummins has been a partner for decades. The new high-output Cummins has 1,000 pound-feet of torque. The horsepower is 800 and something, but 1,000 pound-feet of torque that enables us to tow a 35,000-pound trailer. The payload is up to 7,600 pounds, and so monster capability for the people that want it. The truck that I brought is a power wagon, so it's our off-road truck. It comes with a 12,000-pound Warn winch, company here in the Northwest. Locking axles front and rear, an off-road tire with a bit of a lift, a sway bar disconnect that gives that front axle more articulation. So with a truck, the truck market, you have to first start with the capability, and we've really improved the capability on these trucks.
I'm impressed, and I think just about everybody listening is thinking to themselves, that's the truck I want when I'm in the outdoors and it really counts and I need to get from point A to point B over some rough road, or I'm towing a big boat, or I'm towing my trailer. I think people are listening to what you just said. Let's briefly, we've only got about a minute, talk about what's new inside the cab.
The safety tech is what I kind of lump this all under. But now the truck has forward collision monitoring. So if there's something in the road that you don't see and the truck sees it, it has the capability of braking for you. And that includes with a 35,000-pound trailer. We have blind spot monitors, that actually will adapt with a trailer and see in a spot that you don't potentially see. Tire pressuring monitoring system, which is, everybody knows what it is these days. It tells you now we've got sensors that you can mount into your trailer tires. So that you can see what the tire pressure is on your trailers. We have a camera, right? There's bed cameras, there's tailgate cameras. Now we have a camera that plugs into the hitch area, and now you have a camera that you can wire inside of a trailer, on the back of a trailer, so that if you have livestock, right, you can now mount it so you can see what's going on with your livestock in the trailer. If you've got a big, long boat and you want to see behind your boat, you can mount that trailer on the back of your boat, and you can then, that will be broadcast on the screen inside the truck. So lots of tech in these trucks, both for safety and then for enjoyment. We've got a 12-inch screen that is now part, 8-inch screens are kind of the standard. We've got a 12-inch screen. It's a monster iPad. You can have native applications, or you can have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and you can have a split screen. So you can have your radio up, you can have your navigation system up. Just amazing what these trucks do.
Well, just make sure when you're using that screen that you're tuning into a station that carries America Outdoors Radio. We're going to have to leave it at that. But, Scott, I continue to be impressed every time we talk about the innovation that's going into Ram trucks. It's truly impressive. And there's a clear reason that you just explained why Ram trucks are getting more and more of the market share from serious outdoors men and outdoors women throughout America. So keep up the great work. And, folks, if you want a Ram truck, it's as easy as going to a dealer near you. You know they're all over the U.S. Check out the new models, the new heavy-duty models. As you just heard, there's a lot to see and there's a lot to experience. Always a pleasure, Scott. Thank you for joining us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John.
I don't know about you, but after talking to Scott, I suddenly have an urge to go buy a new Ram truck. We've got to go, but if you find yourself looking for Ram trucks at dealerships on the web on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, give our show a listen at talkamericaradio.us. This internet station is the new voice for conservative talk radio, and we're part of their lineup. You can also catch our show on our Facebook page and our website, America Outdoors Radio, and we are also on several platforms for on-demand podcasting. That includes Podbean, Stitcher, and now Radio Public. Just look for America Outdoors Radio. You'll find us on YouTube as well. Our channel there, Northwestern Outdoors, that's one word, and you can always catch our regional show when you do that. It is the month of May, and for many of us, it is prime time for bass fishing. A lot of these bass are spawning, so I would ask you to catch and release if you're going to be catching spawning bass. It's also a great month for continued turkey hunting throughout many of our United States, and with Memorial Day on the horizon, the start of camping season is about here as well. Here's hoping you get out to do one or more of these activities in the days ahead. I also hope the good Lord blesses you with good health and good fun in the days ahead as well, and that some of that fun is going to involve fishing, camping, hunting, or something else outside. Remember, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Cruz through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
Wetlands are some of the most important ecosystems on Earth, but our wetlands are quickly disappearing. Find out how you can help. Join Ducks Unlimited today.